Zombies. Zombies literally everywhere. Zombies all the time. Zombies. 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 Nothing but zombies. Why? Why are they everywhere? Why do people love them so much? It's never been my thing. I generally don't get into much zombie-related content. I think up until this date, there's two things in the zombie genre that I could say I actually truly love and thoroughly enjoy. One was the first episode of The Walking Dead, which was basically like a movie. It was amazing. The premise, the setup, the payoffs and everything in it were so good. And yeah, I watched that show for like 5 seasons or something. I stuck with it for a very long time because it was enjoyable for a lot of reasons. I feel like the strengths and weaknesses of that show are too much to get into, but it was largely like zombie kill of the week or big moment of the week, big hook to keep you watching, but not a lot going on episode to episode. I guess that does remind me, the first season of The Walking Dead Telltale game, back when that formula game was new and everything, that was really awesome. Same thing though, they kind of fizzled that one out and I never bothered finishing the series. The other one is World War Z, the novel. Forget about the movie, pretend it didn't happen. Maybe it's enjoyable for its own reasons. I hated it because it was just nothing like the book, and a proper adaptation of the book was what I wanted. And through the process of making this video, I reminded myself of Zombieland and Shaun of the Dead. Let's discount that and only talk about things that take themselves seriously. Legit, like, horror thriller takes on the genre. Until this weekend, when I sat down and binge-watched Kingdom on Netflix. Guys, I have a bit of a cold. You can maybe hear it in my voice a little bit, so I've been quite ill. Been spending a lot of time on the couch. I kind of just had it in my mind, like, I'm going to find a new series. I'm just going to binge the hell out of it over the next couple of days. I'm flicking through recently added, and I come across this new South Korean show, Kingdom. I think, whatever, I'm just watching trailers for everything at this point, waiting for something to catch my eye. I throw on the trailer, and this is the first, 30 seconds of it.
How many corpses are lying beneath the water of this pond? No one in the palace can tell you the exact number, but to make them behave as if the number is 0, that is true power.
And at that point, I was hooked. I was just like, whatever, 6 episodes, I'm going to watch the whole thing. And goddamn, was it so much more than I was prepared for. And for people who are curious, it is a South Korean produced, made piece of content. So it is originally acted with that dialect. I watched the first episode and a half with subs, but I was starting to get weird head rushes and the reading was not tracking well for me and I was kind of getting out of it. So I switched over to the English dubs instead, and they're very well done. I know back when I was watching Attack on Titan or stuff, people would say subs not dubs, don't bother with the dubs whatsoever. I think they were well enough done in this show that if that's normally a turnoff for you, the English dubs are available in the language options, and I think they were very well done. I still very much enjoyed it with that. So I think that's important to bring up early on, because that'll be important for a lot of people's decision making, I think. So first up, the show just looks incredible. Absolutely spectacular production, costumes, sets. It's convincing and it's unique. It's so cool because I feel like so much of the Asian content that we're exposed to is through this lens of either Chinese or Japanese. And to see this unique perspective of this medieval Korean setting was so new and cool. So yeah, people who are into period piece stuff are probably going to immediately be drawn to that side of it. I don't want to get too deep into it because this show kind of unpacks like a mystery. Yeah, there's zombies, but why and how do they behave in this world, and what are the rules and how rules of engagement? How do you deal with them? How do you survive? How do you make it through the day or whatever? All of that is kind of learned through the characters and watching how they react and everything. And watching how they react is very believable. Let's try and think of the simplest setup here. I've taken a few attempts at trying to think of how to explain the plot of this show, without being spoilery. I think the most interesting part of it is that the politics side of things is partially a catalyst and the driving force of the story, yet somehow still operates as a subplot. It's significant throughout the entire series. I got a cattail swishing in my face here. It's significant throughout the entire series, yet somehow, I guess people just have bigger fish to fry in this world. But it is logical and laid out in very piecemeal fashion, so it's very easy to keep up with. I think one thing that The Walking Dead gets wrong is that it shifts away from the zombies. It pulls back to try and do these character moments and have people versus people be the real monsters. And yeah, I get why they would do that, because endlessly killing mindless zombies isn't that entertaining. But I think the interesting side of it here is that the personal people versus people conflicts that are happening within the show are things that are separate from the zombies. So it's not because there's zombies, we don't have anywhere good to feel safe. We don't have food to eat. We're all struggling. And no, all of that was already issues. People have already kind of learned how to coexist with that shit. So instead, it's these divisions of who people support politically and stuff that are causing the turmoil. The additional turmoil layered on the zombies. It's something Walking Dead got right here and there, but largely whiffed on, and I think is pinned down really well in this show. You start to see these early hints of this plague that's coming across the nation. And I think that's something that's very important and distinct in this show. We're witnessing like the ground zero. We witness patient zero. And again, it's kind of, it's layered together in like this little bit of mystery. So it's not just like, there's the first zombie and there's the 2 zombies that resulted from that. No, it's more subtle than that. I think it is important that we see the setup and how it played out and why people are stuck in this idea of we can fix this. There's this idea that maybe they can fix it because they know how it started, but it's so rapidly getting out of control that it's like, how would you ever possibly manage this? I think the setting of this, the time period and everything is so brilliantly chosen to house this story. Yeah, there's these ravenous zombie monsters who are taking bites out of people. That's just insane. What are you going to do? How do you deal with that? Oh, you don't have iPads or electricity or anything anymore. No, this is like medieval times. People don't have luxuries. I mean, the higher class people have all these glamorous jewelry and crazy clothing and everything like that, but the main thing they have is food. This takes place in a nation where these common folk are starving on a daily basis. And so all of a sudden now there's like this weird zombie threat that you have to worry about. Yeah, okay. Yesterday I didn't have food. Today I don't have food and there's zombies. You know, it's like a weird, it's just like, really? One more thing? I already had enough on my plate this week and none of it was food. But do you see what I'm saying? I think that was one of the main things that I loved about this so much, is that it's a group of people who are already in survival mode 24/7, you know? And all of a sudden they're put in a state of double survival. You think that would make it less interesting. Same shit, different pile. I guess I just learned to live with this now. Oh yeah. Also, this show pulls zero punches. I mean, there's some gory, gruesome stuff in here, and the show is not apologetic about who the victims are. It doesn't matter how heroic or innocent or unaware you were. You don't get any free passes in this world. It's unsettling. It's dark. Don't say I didn't warn you that it isn't violent and like upsetting. So the people, those dynamics in the setting are all just phenomenal. It makes it so much more engaging and more interesting than like any other zombie thing I've ever seen. And a huge thing I haven't even brought up is the pacing of the show here, and that is a huge complaint that everyone has for The Walking Dead, is that when you have these, whatever they are, 16 episode seasons broke up into the 8 seasons before and after the mid-season stuff, they're just across whatever season they're on now. There's just not enough interesting, new, exciting plot to fill all those gaps. There is a shitload of filler. This show has non-zombie related content. Probably the majority of it is non-zombie related. It's like these people trying to deal with the aftermath during their days, and then these subplots of like cool political intrigue. But it is consistent. Like, the pace just goes so hard for 6 episodes. It's constantly either crazy chaotic zombie outbreaks or like introducing you to new important things or new concepts or new layers to the story and the subtlety of what's going on and everything. So like, just beautifully paced in a way I have never seen in a zombie-based medium. I think they came up with some really cool, unique ways of setting up these zombies to make it different from what you've probably seen before. So yeah, they're fast zombies. We've seen fast zombies before. That's not particularly new. The thing that, as far as I'm aware, is wholly unique to this series is the day-night cycle of these zombies. They are unstoppable, rampaging, killing machines, except for if you destroy the brain or take off the head. Usual rules there. But the second that the sun rises, they scurry away like cockroaches and go and find places to hide from the sun. Then they're literally just inert, inanimate, zero defense. They just look like dead corpses. So yeah, it's like an 8-hour merciless rampage nonstop, and then just like that, the second the sun comes up, they peace out. They're not the type of zombie to sit there and gorge and fill up on one kill. I guess it has to do with like some sort of compulsion to spread the disease as much as possible, or to do as much destruction, because the zombies know that they're like time limited. You tackle someone down, give them a bite on the ass, maybe nibble their kneecap a little bit, and then you get up and go after the next guy because he's already zombied. You don't want to eat someone who's already a zombie. They have a lot of respect in their undead society. That's a weird, crazy thing, because in The Walking Dead, it's an easy example people are familiar with. I keep going back to it. You are living in a state of 24/7 fear of zombies. The cool thing in this show is that you are only in fear of zombies for whatever that works out to, 8 to 10 hours per day. then you have to shift your priorities. What do you do for the remainder of your time? You just spent 10 hours sprinting probably, or camping out in some weird tall tower or something that they couldn't get at you. They're not very intelligent. Do you catch up on all the sleep you just didn't get all night? Do you fortify your walls? Do you try and go and find food because everyone's still starving? That's not different. Do you walk around and find the zombies? I mean, they don't just collapse where they were, right? They kind of go and like scurry right away like cockroaches and hide themselves. So like one of the options is go and find as many of them as you can and decapitate or burn them. So yeah, 8 hours of the day, 1/3 of your day is spent literally running from these things, doing everything you can to defend yourself, and the other 16 hours is spent just trying to survive and deal with the fallout of all that shit. I really enjoyed and appreciated that cycle, and it was something that always pissed me off so badly in like The Walking Dead, is that, all right, after a couple months of this, you guys should have it figured out. If you get eaten walking down a hallway and something jumps out at a dark corner and gets you, you're dumb, and you should have died within the first week of this probably. So that was always irritating to me, but I feel like that was the show trying to artificially be like, this is a 24/7 hour threat. It never rests. It's always present. And yeah, if the characters figured it out and weren't scared of it anymore, then we wouldn't be either. But this keeps you on your toes because they can't really figure it out. They can't deal with it properly. It is like there's like a weird cycle to it. So that shit was cool. I will say from like a design standpoint and everything, there's nothing new about the zombies. Their faces kind of turn a little bit black. They get these hollow eyes, and then they just kind of make the same sort of sound effects, like almost exactly like you would hear in The Walking Dead. There's none of that old like ooh. Instead, it's more of like the feral growling and stuff like that. So there's nothing new there, but kind of how the zombies come about and everything is new. Talking just about movies and TV for a second, there are probably dozens of very iconic, noteworthy, famous shots and scenes from various pieces of zombie media. Walking Dead has a few of its own. The don't open dead inside is very famous. The camera pulling out to Rick by himself in the tank while being surrounded by zombies. Then you have ones like Dawn of the Dead, I think it is, where the zombie hands are like clawing at the window with their bloody mess. As much as I didn't like World War Z, there was cool stuff in that. The zombies piling themselves up so high that they're climbing that wall. Even Shaun of the Dead and Zombieland have their own particular spins on things that are very recognizable and distinct now. I guess I'm realizing I don't really know a ton of the old original zombie content, and please don't hold that against me. I guess I'm looking at all this through a more modern take on zombie and zombie lore and everything. But there are some shots in this show that are so incredible, so unsettling. The composition or the colors or everything about it is so incredibly well done that I can't imagine them not finding their own place on those top 10 lists, or having like this cultural impact where you're going to see homages to it down the line. I'll share a couple of them here, no context or anything, just to give you a sense.
Why is it so heavy? Just on. Quick, grab hold.
And these are just three that stand out in my mind as I watch them, being like, this is so cool. But that's basically what the entire show was. I don't know, guys. I could gush about this more. I loved it, and I don't really like zombie stuff. The political stuff was cool, but kept to a minimum, to a degree that was very enjoyable without bogging things down. The production was unbelievable. Everything about this show is gorgeous. The setting is unique and interesting in its own right for that, but also serves the story in such an incredible, unique way. Their new take on how these zombies behave and their specific rule sets for these zombies were new to me and very much different and exciting. I don't know, it was dope. Oh, I had to cut around all my coughing and sneezing and stuff. I hope that I still made all the points that I wanted to going into this. That's probably everything. It's probably everything I have to say. If I want to talk about any more than that, then I would have to get too deep into spoiling cool moments or plot points or anything like that. I highly encourage anyone to go check this out, and I'm so happy I decided to give it a try, and I hope you guys do too. Can't wait to see what they do with the next season. Thank you so much for watching. I'm gonna go sneeze into a bowl of soup and blow my nose until my eyes pop out or something, and then watch another season of a random show. I don't know. That's what my night's looking like.